I have a take on Angel Reese that I'm sure will trigger a bunch of people, but I think Angel Reese, and I'm say this with my chest out, I think she's quit on the Chicago.
Angel Reese didn't just skip a game, she ghosted the whole disaster. No warm-up, no sideline hype, not even a pity clap for her teammates as they got humiliated by the Fever again. No injury update, no "I'm with you in spirit" courtside cameo, just radio silence. And now the whispers are getting louder. Is this really some mysterious back injury? Or has she just decided Chicago isn't worth the headache anymore?
People are kind of surprised, and a lot of people are, calling out Angel Reese right now. And I think we are in a world where, when it comes to Angel Reese, everything is under a microscope.
Picture this. Your franchise's biggest name is sidelined. Fine, it happens. But instead of showing up in street clothes, hyping her teammates, and at least pretending to care, she vanishes. No courtside presence, no supportive sideline energy, not even a token wave from the tunnel, just a gaping star-shaped hole in the arena. That's exactly the scene when the Chicago Sky got steamrolled by the Indiana Fever, and the silence from their so-called leader was louder than the crowd.
Indiana Fever are 7-1. I repeat, the Fever are 7-1 in 2 years against the Chicago Sky.
And this wasn't some throwaway Tuesday night scrimmage. No, this was the latest chapter in a 2-year beatdown, with the Sky getting carved up by Indiana like it's their seasonal tradition. 1 win, 7 humiliations. If there was ever a night where the team's marquee player needed to at least show up, flash a smile, and pretend the season isn't circling the drain, it was this one. Instead, total ghost town. The cameras caught every minute of the slaughter, while fans live tweeted the implosion in real time, because apparently the only place you could find Chicago's leader was on someone else's timeline.
Oh, she went to a few games with a back injury, and let's be real. The fact that this game was in Cambridge is definitely part of why she wasn't there. If this game wasn't in Cambridge, do I think Angel Reese is there? Sure.
The cameras kept hunting. Skybench? Empty. Sideline pans? Same story. It's like she'd been scrubbed from the arena entirely. The broadcast tossed her name out once, slacked with an injury tag, and moved on. In the WNBA, even when a player's season is over, you still see them planted courtside, serving morale and optics in equal measure. It's PR 101. Keep the face of the franchise visible, smiling, invested. But here, nothing. No symbolic leadership, no "we're in this together" shot for the cameras. Just a glaring absence that felt less like bad luck and more like a statement.
I think she looks over at Caitlin Clark and says, hey, Caitlin Clark is out with a legitimate injury. I proved my point before the All-Star game when I went on a 10-game run trying to justify being on the All-Star team.
While the Fever were busy running up the score, social media went full meltdown mode. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all on fire. Fans weren't just wondering if Angel Reese was still in Chicago, some were convinced she'd already mentally packed her bags. Others saw her no-show as a deliberate middle finger to the franchise, and plenty were just being pissed, accusing her of abandoning ship mid-sink. By halftime, the storyline had swerved hard. It wasn't Reese is injured anymore, it was Reese is done. And the worse the scoreboard got, the more savage the online pile-on became.
When the first voting results came out about the All-Star game and I was 13th, holy cow, Angel Reese panicked, started playing hard, tried to put up some stats to justify being on the All-Star team, did that, and now she said, hey, the Chicago Sky sucked this year.
Then came the post-game, and one comment nailed the mood better than any box score could. Someone called it a belt-to-ass loss. That's not just we played poorly, that's we got humiliated so badly it should be censored. And when the fan base is already side-eyeing your commitment, that's the absolute worst night to pull a vanishing act. This wasn't a game you miss without a damn good reason. This was the kind of public beatdown that demands your presence, if only to prove you haven't checked out completely. Reese? Nowhere. And that silence said more than any injury report ever could.
She didn't show up yesterday. She did not show up to watch her team get belt to ass again by the Fever. And I know people are saying, oh, they would have won if Angel was there. Man, they played Angel. They played without Angel there and they won. The Indiana Fever, they played with Angel there and the Fever won twice.
This wasn't just about the scoreboard, it was about the optics, and the picture wasn't pretty. When you're hurt but still show up courtside, fans see someone clawing to stay involved. They'll respect it, defend you, even rally behind you. But vanish completely? Those same fans start writing your exit story for you. And here's the gut punch. This wasn't a random game. This was in the thick of their grudge match with Indiana. From the outside, it didn't read as rest or recovery. It screamed detachment, like the rivalry and maybe the season just wasn't worth showing up for.
No one's going to call her out on that. I came to this conclusion this weekend when I watched the Indiana Fever destroy the Chicago Sky in Indianapolis on Saturday. Guess who wasn't there?
You could practically pinpoint the second the doubt hardened into certainty. The moment fans clocked that she wasn't anywhere in the building while the Sky were getting run straight out of their own game, it was over. The narrative flipped instantly. It wasn't she's hurt anymore. It was she's done. In that instant, the injury excuse evaporated, replaced by something colder. The belief that Angel Reese simply doesn't want to be here. And once fans cross that mental line, there's no walking it back.
Ability is availability. If you're not available, you have no value.
And that leaves one question hanging in the air like a bad smell. If this is really about a back injury, why hasn't there been a single concrete update? Not one detail. Not even the fluffy, non-committal timeline teams usually trot out to keep the Wolves at bay. Just nothing. And that nothing might be the loudest thing of all, because sometimes the silence tells you more than the injury report ever will.
Angel Reese declined to travel to Indianapolis, and her coach came out and said something about, she's just focused on her rehab right now, and, she's day to day.
Everyone keeps parroting back injury like it's gospel, but here's the thing. Has anyone actually confirmed it beyond that first throwaway mention? We're not talking about a surgery case where you get the press release, the rehab photos, the trainer breaking it down for the media. We're talking weeks of total blackout. No updates, no proof, just the same recycled label repeated until people stop asking questions.
She's been claiming a back injury basically since the All-Star break. And there's no details. Every day we hear that Angel Reese is day to day. And every week there's no update on what she's struggling with, what she's doing. There's nothing.
Not a single scrap of new information from the team. No timetable, no she's progressing, no we'll reevaluate in 2 games. Nothing. In the WNBA, that's not normal. Even if a player rolls an ankle, you usually get at least a token line in the weekly game notes to keep up appearances. But with Angel, it's like her file got wiped from the system. No updates, no whispers, no signs of movement, just a black hole where the truth should be.
There's no information about Angel Reese. I think she's quit on this season. I think this is a worse version than Kawhi Leonard. I think she's using her back as an excuse to sit out because she doesn't really care about basketball.
The thing about back injuries is they're the ultimate gray area. They're real, they can be brutal, but they're also the perfect smokescreen when you don't want to give specifics. You can't pull up an MRI and pinpoint exactly how someone feels on any given day. If a player says it still hurts, there's no arguing. No one can call them a liar. It's the kind of injury that can be both legitimate and endlessly convenient, depending on how you want to play it.
She identified once they lost Vandersloot, their point guard, early in the year, and once they started getting their brains beat in, hey, we're not going to win anything this year. I'm not putting these L's on my resume.
When a team's already circling the drain on playoff hopes, you'll sometimes see stars shelved with a convenient case of soreness or tightness. Not bad enough to need surgery, but just enough to justify keeping them out. Fans might grumble, but it's easy to sell as smart preservation, not quitting. In this case, people remember the sound bites, stuff like, "I'm not going to tell her to play through a back injury." Sure, it sounds reasonable in isolation, but stack that on top of weeks of radio silence, and it stops reading like protection and starts reeking of flat-out avoidance.
It's one of those things where I think a lot of people are making this something that isn't. She's got a back injury. Like, I'm not going to be out here saying that Angel Reese needs to go out and play through a damn back injury. I just don't think is the case, especially when your team is as bad as it is.
Nobody seems eager to touch the subject, probably because the answers might be uglier than the team wants out in public. And fans notice, they're not idiots. That's why the tone online flipped so fast. The longer we go without a single clip of her rehabbing, without even a throwaway shot of her chatting with a trainer at practice, the less this feels like it's about her spine. People start connecting the dots, and those dots all point to the same thing. She's not just missing games, she's missing from the games.
A lot of the things when it comes to the Chicago Sky, like, it's just been an absolute disaster for them. I don't think that they're in a position where they're going to succeed, but like, Angel's a back injury.
At this point, the default assumption isn't just that she's hurt, it's that she's mentally checked out. And here's the kicker. If the Sky were sitting pretty at the top of the conference, do we really think she'd still be MIA? Or would that back injury suddenly downgrade to a game time decision? Let's be real. For a lot of people, this doesn't smell like medical caution. It reeks of PR cover, the kind you use when the truth is messier than you want to admit.
Never had an explanation on what caused the back injury? What's a time frame for her recovery? It's similar to so-and-so's back injury. This is something she struggled with here or there. All we've heard is day-to-day, and Angel Reese has disappeared.
When you actually want to play, hurt or not, you make sure people see it. You're engaged, you're present, you're part of the picture. Here, the silence is doing all the talking, and the story it's telling isn't flattering. It's not the image of a warrior grinding through rehab to get back on the court. It's the portrait of someone quietly backing away from a situation she's decided she wants no part of anymore.
I'm going to have an excuse for the Chicago Sky potentially coming in with the worst or second worst record in the WNBA. These losses will not be on my resume.
And that's where every little thing she's doing or not doing off the court suddenly becomes a big deal. Because if you really want to know a player's mindset, you don't just watch them under the bright lights. You watch what happens when the cameras aren't rolling, when the scoreboard isn't ticking. And that's exactly where her social media starts turning this from a question mark into a storyline. One with a whole extra layer that doesn't make her absence look any better.
Reese has taken this season off to focus on her off-court endeavors and to avoid these losses that the Chicago Sky are accumulating, to avoid them appearing on her resume. Angel Reese doesn't really care about basketball.
When Angel Reese isn't on the court, she's still making noise. Just not the kind the Chicago Sky would put in the game notes. Scroll through her social media since she stopped playing, and patterns jump out. No injury updates, no public support for her teammates grinding it out without her. Instead, likes and interactions on posts that hint at big personal moves, the kind that have nothing to do with rehabbing a back and everything to do with setting up the next chapter somewhere else.
Road games as well. At the end of the day, if you got a back injury, just stay at home. Like, people are out here saying Angel Reese is pulling a Dewana. If she was pulling a Dewana, she would have been traded last week. Is she going to play this season? Probably not.
Her feed isn't filled with game shots or can't wait to be back messages. It's littered with quotes about knowing your worth and cutting toxic energy. And then there's that one caption, "Make a decision for yourself." No context, no clarification, just a vague loaded line that feels aimed at something way bigger and way messier than basketball.
I think there are a lot of people that want to look at everything as a negative when it comes to her. Just like at the same time, it's the same thing with all these players. Like, everything stars do is going to be under a microscope.
This isn't uncharted territory for the league. We've seen this game before. Remember when Brittany Sykes started sprinkling cryptic hints online before she got traded? Nothing explicit, nothing you could hang your hat on, but just enough for people paying attention to connect the dots. And when the trade finally dropped, everyone realized she'd been telegraphing it for weeks. That's exactly why Reese's feed feels so loaded right now. Every post, every like, every quote reads less like random noise and more like a slow burn announcement.
And doubled and tripled down, saying that something happened even though she didn't hear it herself. And then she's there reposting tweets or reposting TikToks saying that Gamebridge is dangerous for her and it's a danger if she goes to Gamebridge and all of this crap.
Fans have seen this movie before. What makes this one wilder is how she's dealing with the rumors, or more accurately, refusing to deal with them. No denial, no playful, "y'all are reading too much into this" tweet. Nothing to pump the brakes before the speculation goes nuclear. And that vacuum? It's gasoline for the fire. Every day she stays quiet, she leaves the door wide open for fans to keep guessing. And the guesses aren't getting friendlier.
I'm rivals with Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever, but I'm gonna tap out. I'm not gonna take the hour and a half, 2-hour bus ride or 30-minute flight to Indianapolis and accompany my team as they go to war against my so-called rival.
Now we've even reached the emoji forensic stage. Screenshots of comment sections are flying around like evidence in a conspiracy trial, with fans dissecting every symbol she drops as if it's some coded message. One single heart emoji got turned into a multi-paragraph manifesto about her leaving, proof that when you give people nothing concrete, they'll build their own story out of scraps. And right now, every scrap points away from Chicago.
And so she plays the sport because at 6'3", why shouldn't she? She has the athleticism to play, but does she really love this game? I don't think so.
And I can't ignore the other layer in all this, the one where analysts flat out say the Sky don't know how to market Angel Reese. You've got a player with a massive personality and a built-in fan army, yet somehow the franchise can't figure out how to put her in the spotlight she thinks she deserves. That's the kind of disconnect that can create distance fast. In today's game, the off-court brand is every bit as critical as the on-court role. And if a star feels like the franchise is fumbling one, she's going to start questioning the other.
Like, you're not going to risk someone for a back injury to come back when they're not going to make the playoffs. You're not going to do that. I'm going to be honest. Like, there's no way.
For a player at her level, staying silent isn't neutral. It's a choice. Every fan knows the fastest way to kill a rumor is to confront it head on. If you don't, you're not just letting it live, you're letting it grow. And right now, Angel Reese isn't just letting this one breathe. She's pumping oxygen straight into it, whether she intends to or not.
There are people that play sports, football, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever, because they have the talent, because they have the requisite physical gifts. Angel Reese is 6'3". What else was she gonna do?
At this point, the picture's not fuzzy anymore. She's skipping games, there's no confirmed timeline for a return, and her social media looks less like casual posting and more like a breadcrumb trail leading straight out of Chicago, which leaves the one question nobody can shake. Is this just a short-term pause, or has Angel Reese already walked away for good without bothering to make it official?
This is all speculation. All we know is that Angel Reese has a back injury and she's not playing. And I fully believe, like, Angel Reese literally had a back brace even when she was dropping 20. I fully believe that. And let's be real, it's a little bit different than a groin injury traveling around with your team and sitting down. It's probably for the best that a lot of people are like, oh, she's rehabbing. I wouldn't be surprised if Angel Reese is just resting. And back injury rest might be the move.
The real question now isn't just whether Angel Reese's back is hurt. It's whether she even wants to be in Chicago at all. Call it a recovery period, call it a quiet protest, or just call it what a lot of fans already have: quitting without saying it out loud.
And so you can sit there and say, well, the same applies to Caitlin Clark. Yes, it does. But Caitlin Clark appears to have a legitimate injury that everybody can trace to a moment and a time during the games where she re-aggravated. She originally injured. She had a comeback where it lasted 2 or 3 games, re-injured it. They've hinted at a time frame of late August that she may return. Nothing but a mystery surrounds Angel Reese.
So what is this really? Is Angel Reese saving herself for a better situation, sending a silent middle finger to the front office, or quietly walking away? Because if the Sky end up flipping her for a future top pick, don't act surprised. You'll be able to say you saw the first cracks forming right here. The question is, are we watching a temporary absence or the opening scene of her Chicago exit? And if it's the latter, what does that say about this franchise's ability to keep its stars?